Good afternoon. According to a Paul Research Center survey, they revealed that 98% of scientists believe in the theory of evolution and 66% of U.S. adults believe in the theory of evolution. To help us better understand why the majority of scientists believe in the theory of evolution is scientist Jesse Lee, a specialist in the study of evolutionary biology, to talk with us today. Jesse Lee, welcome to the Faith Channel. According to the Pew Research Center, 70.6% of Americans are Christian, 5.9% are from non-Christian faiths, and 22.8% are not religious. What is your religious beliefs and views on evolution, and why?
So I'm not a firm believer of any religion, but this is not because of what I study or my profession. In fact, understanding science provides that a survey done by scientists at top universities found that more than 48% of the scientists had an affiliation with religion, and more than 75% believe that religion conveys important truths. So as a scientist, obviously, who studies evolution, my perceptions around it are supported by science, and I believe that all living things have evolved over time. However, my knowledge is on evolution is specifically limited to scientific research and evidence, which does not give me any right, however, to disapprove any religious theories.
One theory of creation is in the first chapter of the book of Genesis. It is stated that God made heaven and earth and all living things in just 6 days. This is a popular belief among Christians and other Abrahamic followers. Could you please clarify for us what the theory of evolution is?
So to explain the scientific theory of evolution, I would like to refer to the theory of evolution by natural selection proposed by Charles Darwin, as it is possibly one of the best substantiated scientific theories in history and is supported by evidence from a wide variety of scientific fields such as paleontology, geology, genetics, and developmental biology. So in Darwin's book On the Origin of Species, published in 1859, the theory of evolution by natural selection is described as the process where organisms gradually change over time as a result of changes in heritable phenotypes, which are physical or behavioral traits. So more individuals are produced each generation than can be supported by the environment, which leads organisms to struggle for their existence. And variation in phenotypes exist among individuals, and this variation is heritable. An organism that inherits traits that allows for it to better adapt to their environment will be given the advantage to survive and produce more offspring. In contrast, though, the book of Genesis ultimately teaches people that God is the creator of all things, whether that is living things, matter, energy, space, etc., as stated in the first verse of the first chapter in the book of Genesis, Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So if I could refute against the book of Genesis' view on evolution of life from what I know, the Bible does not explain the process of God's creation, when God created all existing things, how that creation was changed or sustained over time, and how living things evolved to be the way they are today in any scientific way. So this is one example of how religion can directly interfere or contradict with the scientific inquiry on the evolution of life.
Is it true that one of the main pieces of evidence for the theory of evolution is the fossil record?
Yes, remains of animals and plants can be discovered in sedimentary rocks to provide us with a record of the past. So the website Understanding Evolution Understanding Evolution suggests that we view the fossil record as accumulated snapshots of the past, and that when put all together in correct order, they can display a panorama of evolutionary change over the past 4 billion years, and definitively reveal that species evolve into other species over long periods of time. For example, as stated by a webpage titled What Does the Fossil Record Show by biologos.org, in rocks more than 1 billion years old, only fossils of single-celled organisms were found. Rocks that were around 550 million years old, evidence of multicellular animals were found, and gradually new organisms have been found through this kind of process. So amphibians at 350 million years ago, reptiles at 300 million years ago, mammals at 230 million years ago, and birds at around 150 million years ago.
If evolution is real and everything on Earth wasn't originally created the way it is today, then how did, for example, the whale, a mammal, change from a land mammal into a fish-like creature?
Okay, so to answer this question, I would like to refer to a talk on PBS Nature with Dr. Mark Wen. So, whales and other cetaceans, an order of marine animals, which include dolphins and porpoises, are descendants of land living mammals. Like all mammals, they are warm blooded, they give live birth, and they nurture their young. So, studies of DNA, the anatomy of living animals, and fossil records have proven that whales are comprised in a mammalian group called okay,
Artiodactyla.
group called Artiodactyla. The transition from land animals to fully aquatic animals took around 12 million years, according to this discussion, and key adaptations that took place during the evolution of whales to marine mammals, according to Dr. Mark Wen, were forelimbs that modified into flippers, extra vertebrae in their trunk and back, and flukes on their tails or locomotion. So most of these characteristics are found in modern day whales. Dr. Mark Wen further states that new discoveries are constantly being made by geologists, paleontologists, and modern biologists about the evolution of marine mammals.
Then how can you justify the reasoning for many of the missing links between species provided by the fossil record?
So yes, there may be smudges in some places on these snapshots, and bits of evidence can be missing. But the fossil, but these so-called gaps in the fossil record are simply due to the incomplete data collection. And according to a page on Boundless.com called "Gaps in the Fossil Record," we've only discovered around 1% of the species that have existed on Earth. And one of the main reasons for this being that some animals just fossilize better than others. Therefore, we have only inferred from the fossil evidences that we have so far that species have evolved over time to the modern species we see today. And good news is that the more that we study and discover the evolution of specific species lines, the more that the gaps in the fossil record can be replaced with transitional fossils of species.
According to popsci.com, the brontosaurus was actually the fossil of an apatosaurus with a different skull due to a scientific error while assembling the fossils. Once Edward Dinkercope placed the head of a dinosaur he discovered on its tail opposed to its neck. And these are just a few mistakes that we have discovered. So, do you think that the fossil record could still be credible at this point? And please explain your reasoning.
Well, yes, mistakes have been made in some past scientific research, and more might later be made or discovered. However, the fossil record is continuously being improved by scientists, and if more mistakes are made, like with the Brontosaurus, they can be corrected by future scientists. Nonetheless, without the fossil record, we would not have been able to unfold the major as well as minor branching points of the tree of life.
To end the discussion, I would like to ask for your opinion on the relationship between religion and science. Do you believe that religion and science have equal impact on society and that they can coexist despite their differences?
Um, so I think that science develops knowledge and understanding about the universe, and it works to eliminate bias in sources of knowledge. So it increases the reliability of knowledge and findings, which encourages society to take in the new information. Scientific theories can be tested over and over again to produce really powerful explanations. And it can help us to develop new technologies as well as to understand really important topics such as our health, the environment, and natural hazards. In addition, as a professor working with students, I would like to acknowledge that science and education allows students to access vital knowledge and information which will develop their understanding of how things work like they do in the world. So, children and students will use their scientific knowledge that they learned through education to make good decisions and pursue their interests. However, one way that science has been proven to be a negative influence in society is when it's been used for wrongful reasons, such as for death, war, development of weapons, and other crimes. I believe that religion has an equally important role in society and is related to the realm of human purposes, meanings, and values. As science has been replacing people's belief in faith and emotions that unite people together, such as compassion and brotherhood, um, the destructive use of science has increased. So, in this case, religion can be needed to create and spread more wisdom and morality in the world. So, like the British evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins argues, science cannot demonstrate the existence of God, but it cannot prove that God doesn't exist. So, science can answer our factual questions, while religion can answer our moral questions. And they have two very different impacts on society, but they're both vital, and therefore they do not have to be in conflict.